All right, welcome back here. We have our second match, and I'm hanging out in the booth with Jeremy, who unfortunately lost the match number one, but as a consolation prize, gets to hang out and do a little bit of day drinking and chatting in the booth here. Maybe some shit talking about our current players. What's going on
No,
here?
no, not these two. Kyle's sort of one of my favorite people to have around when we play Magic, and I don't know, he's sort of our mascot at this point.
It's
Or,
true. Yeah, Kyle is almost has probably reached legendary status. At local game store, we have a bar in the game store, and on Mondays and Fridays there is a table reserved for Kyle. It's like printed out, gets placed on the table, and yeah, it's a pillar of the community, one might say.
yeah, he's one of the great locals that started playing Magic later than a lot of us have, and has really, I don't know, fell in love with the game, and he's really taken every kind of deck he can get his hands on to the table, and really tries with a lot of effort to play hard, but he's always having a good time when he's doing it.
Yeah, so we have Kyle is hanging out here on Izzet Phoenix, and we have Mikey on Jeskai Control. So I've played on both sides of this matchup, and it can be a close one. I feel like the a key to Phoenix winning is to have a lot of early pressure, and then your burn spells later in the game just become very relevant, where your opponent has to hold up counter magic for every lightning bolt that you have, and makes it challenging to actually deploy a win condition.
There's also the weird sub game of this game is just different depending on the number of Paths of Exiles that are drawn.
Correct, yeah. Path, Snap, Path, very strong, but if you're only on Lightning Helix and Bolts, it gets a little bit awkward. And it seems like Kyle might be thinking about deploying a thing in the ice. And we're gonna get a fetch here. Are we going for a basic? Are we going for a duel?
I can't imagine not getting duels here. Unless
Huh?
he happens to be playing some main deck Blood Moon. I don't know his list.
It does seem like some lists have a one of main deck Blood Moon in it, but not always. We should have Cardboard Live hanging out up here, so folks can look at the player's deck list if you're watching on a computer.
I actually really like Blood Moon in this matchup. If you have extra cards, you're down one card, but you're up all of their colonnades, and they run out of blue mana.
And Cryptic is a very important spell in the matchup, so if you can constrain the blue mana there to prevent them from casting Cryptic, Blood Moon is a very strong card. Looks like we have Mikey drew a flip card of their own. You have any thoughts and feelings on basic land choices, Jeremy?
I have a lot of thoughts and feelings on basic land choices. I do think both these people have brought great lands to the table today. I like all of those that we've got so far. I'm currently on the Euro basic lands, sort of the poor man's Apex. But I really, when streaming, I always take note of what they're playing, and I can appreciate a lot of different basics. Even like Whiteboard or Revised, sometimes they seem to just fit.
I do think that is one of, the more interesting things about watching Magic on stream is, yeah, got to pay attention to the real estate.
Yeah.
Says a lot about the player. I do really like the borders on the original unglued lands.
Yeah, it was a bold choice for the artists to do that in those first lands. They're so unique, but they have really been appreciated for, what is it, 15 years now?
It makes me feel old. I don't.
No, it's more than that. 20 years now.
So yes, I think it's close to 20 years. Oh, might be going off here. We get Faithless Looting into a Manamorphose.
Let's hope this works out. The even just getting in for 7 once, it just feels good.
Definitely representing a path there on Mikey's side, but might not have it. Oh, second
Well, if he has to
Metamorphose.
use a path on this, that's also not so bad.
Correct. That is one of the strong points about just how like Phoenix works is that it just taxes your removal and none of it is good against everything, and yeah, it's an awkward deck to play against.
Yeah, it's really something for the modern format to be so upended in just new sets every now and then. We had a lot of change in the last couple of years, and this new deck is it takes new experiences and new ways of figuring out how to approach your modern build.
Okay, do get a path for the third Metamorphose there, so Kyle didn't get to go crazy. But also might be able to resolve a Faithless Looting and throw some more Phoenixes in the graveyard. We've got at least one hanging out.
Yeah, it's really good at this point with the game in the earlier stage to just start getting in something, because right now Mikey at 20 is looking ominous.
And Mikey's at 20, doesn't yet have red mana, but is playing a deck with, I think, 4 Lightning Helixes, so able to crawl back in from a damage race sometimes. So Serum Vision with the blue. See another Vision hanging out. Kyle doesn't want either of those cards, going to the bottom. All right, that was a lot of effort for a lightning bolt there.
Well, it's a lightning bolt that sticks around.
It's true. Lightning Angel, perhaps.
Oh, I like that card.
I do miss that card. I have registered that in a modern tournament before. Arclight Phoenix does seem like a little bit better of a card nowadays, though.
Yeah, so does Mantis Rider.
Yeah, Mikey missing the 4th land drop there.
That certainly helps Kyle's cause here. Mikey does have that 4th land sitting there as an enchantment right now, but it's still stuck. Right, this might be just the throw everything you've got so that you can flip that.
Yeah, definitely. Get a negate on a flashback looting, which is like fine if I'm Kyle and my opponent is casting a negate on that.
Right, I would imagine that is part of the let's not make this situation any worse and hope to get that 4th land quick.
Well, Kyle wanting to use at least 2 mana here. We get a shock of a Steam Vents and swinging in with the Phoenix.
Smells like maybe a Charter Chorus.
Perhaps holding up an Izzet Charm for a Planeswalker or something else that Mikey might deploy.
Oh.
Does not play into it and misses the land drop
Yeah.
again. Thought Scour. Kyle targets himself.
Veteran move.
So in matches off the table, we have a Tron versus Burn matchup, and we have another Phoenix list playing against Dredge.
There's been a lot of table talk today on the new Mulligan rule with Tron and Dredge and how this might be really good for them.
Well, hopefully we'll get to see at least one of those decks in the next round here. I mean, maybe that'll prove the point if neither of those decks makes round 2.
Well,
One Phoenix discarded off a flashback Faithless Looting.
what are your stances on the legality of Faithless Looting in Modern?
Oh, I think it's time is definitely numbered. I feel that it is before the last ban list announcement, I talked a little bit about it on our stream, but basically in conclusion, I sort of feel that Faithless Looting is too ubiquitous a card in a lot of different archetypes, that if you're playing red, even decks like Scapeshift are playing a Faithless Looting nowadays. They use Shadow, Scapeshift, Dredge, Phoenix, and it's just a little bit too efficient at doing what it does, and it's easily replaceable by other cards that aren't quite as efficient, like a Chart the Course or Cathartic Reunion, etc., that if you ban it, you're not totally removing decks from the format, but you're just slowing things down a little bit. So I feel like it should have been banned, and I have a feeling that at some point it's probably on the chopping block. But I was wrong the last time.
What was your feelings on this before Arclight Phoenix?
Before Phoenix, I wasn't feeling super strongly about it being banned, but I did think it was a card to watch for. But I feel like it really constricts the kind of templating you can do on new cards when you have a card like Faithless Looting in the format. And Phoenix definitely is, I think, a pretty busted deck, and definitely shows how Faithless Looting usually is supposed to be like a card disadvantage card, unless you're playing Dredge, but with the Phoenix deck, when it matters what you have in exile, for cards like Crackling Drake and Ral, and then you can actually pitch Phoenixes and those come out of the graveyard, it is not card disadvantage at all.
I feel like I've definitely gone back and forth on this, and I was impressed at the strength of this new deck when it came into Modern, but I'm curious to give it a little bit of time. I know some people have been trying to figure out how to beat this deck as is, and I have faith. There's a lot of cards in Modern.
Oh, getting a Field of Ruin on a Steam Vents. This smells a little bit like a Lightning Helix to me.
That's nice. Also, getting that, one more card in the yard to flip that Escanta.
I played a lot on the Jeskai control side of this matchup, and it's interesting. After game one, I shave a lot of lightning bolts by leaving the lightning helixes, because sometimes you just need a little bit of life gain to stall your way to the mid or late game where you're able to get control of the game here, and it looks like that's what Mikey's doing.
Field of Ruin is nice in that the lifeless fetch. You don't have to pay any life to get the colored mana you needed.
Yeah, I think Field of Ruin is a really good addition to Eternal formats. It seems fairly costed for the activation, but you're able to put it in decks where you play a lot of basics, and even these 3-color decks like Jeskai are playing 2 or 3 of them, and it's a good way of combating decks that cheat on mana like Amulet or Tron.
Yeah, I don't think it's not good in Standard either.
Right.
Like it actually hits all 3 in a pretty nice way.
It is kind of wild that Teferi, Field of Ruin, and Search for Escanta are all legal in Standard. I think Negate also is, and Hieroglyphic Illuminations. Just most of the cards we've seen out of Mikey's deck are Standard legal.
Ooh.
Yeah. Oh no, are we going to have soldier tokens? I think we might not have soldier tokens here. I must confess that I let Mikey borrow a lot of these cards for this deck today, and he asked for timely reinforcements, and I did not have the foresight for soldier tokens.
See if we can get some artist out there to get some piece of paper, draw some nice tokens quick.
Ooh, I think we're lightning axing our own Phoenix, perhaps.
This is a creative way of making not soldiers.
And discarding Gutshot, that's sort of, mana card anyways.
I'm not sure, I don't know how many cards he has in his hand there, but if he doesn't have enough to get that Phoenix back, I think just swinging in still would have been nice.
Yeah. I did see a Crackling Drake, I think, as a leftover. In Opt, I think a Serum Vision? It's amazing how this Phoenix deck can go from like no spells into chaining 3 spells so easily.
I've been on the other side of the whether or not we should have better blue cantrips in Modern, but with this deck around, even the ones we have are powerful enough to keep everything rolling real smoothly.
I think Kyle drew an Opt for turn with a Crackling Drake in hand, then drew a Serum Vision off the Opt, and then drew a Thought Scour off the Serum Vision.
Just redundancy for days.
And looks like 2 other cantrips are going to go to the bottom here. Maybe hoping to hit another Phoenix with this Thought Scour. Yep. Nope. And draw a card. Yep. Gonna draw a card, Kyle? Yep.
Not allowed to not draw.
Yeah, you can't miss drawing card. It's very easy when you're playing these decks that have a lot of like cantrips or you're spinning your wheels I've seen many players forget to draw off of Thought Scour.
I fear it a lot. It's a thing that comes up. Also, the Mishra's Baubles triggers the
Oh,
half
yeah.
delay from the old formatting.
Okay, Kyle's gonna hope this gets
Just
a little
keep
bit
going.
better.
Forever. Mikey's looking like he does not have a response to any of this.
It looks like Kyle drew 2 fetch lands and pitched them, and there we go. 2 Phoenixes.
That's not a Phoenix. It's a beautiful lightning bolt there.
Love the Veda bolts. If G&G is watching, I'm sorry.
Oh.
We'll keep it between us. Oh, we do have an active Search for Azcanta. Lightning Bolt isn't really a card you want to be throwing at these Phoenixes when they're able to recur, but Kyle down on cards here, so it's going to be a bit of a challenge to keep bringing those Phoenixes back. At least Mikey hopes so. Is the Lightning Bolt on top? Perhaps?
I don't know. At this point, I'd take it. If he has the 4 land there and hit that Drake at the end of turn, swing once with the Phoenix now. Maybe that gets bolted, but oh.
Kind of rather have the Phoenix path than the Drake path. Are we going to look for a basic
He could have
there?
bolted it there too.
Yeah.
His own Phoenix.
Yeah. That's pretty aggressive.
I agree. It's nice to have these options,
Yeah.
but he had the extra mana floating around.
Get a Logic Knot for 1, 2, 3 for 3. It's like Mikey's left a red and a white up, so perhaps there is...
I think we just bolted the head here.
Yeah.
Well, there was no counter spells.
Yeah, usually Jeskai is just playing one of Negate and then the rest are Logic Knot, so Kyle was perhaps trying to get that bolt in there without it being countered. It does seem like it might have been wise to hold off for getting that last Phoenix back. Get an activation of Search, find and Electrolyze. And this may be the turning point in the game here.
Yeah, let's...
And Faithless Looting here for Kyle.
Oh, the rarest of electrolyzes.
Do you like comic books?
I do, and I missed out on getting this one. Manny ended up with one of these. I think there was a fancy Duress out of that series too.
Yeah, there's I think a Duress, Electrolyze, and a Grizzlebrand was in there too. Oh no, the Grizzlebrand was from a video game, not a comic
Nice.
book. Yeah. Is that a main deck copy of Surgical we're seeing for Kyle? Looks like it. What do you think it says about Modern that decks are playing Surgical in the main deck now?
Things are a little awkward. The freeness of the card, the 0 mana ability is really impressive in this deck. That you can have a better chance of getting your Phoenixes early before you have enough lands to theoretically do 3 spells.
It seems like it has replaced some amount of Gutshot, where maybe there's less decks like Humans hanging out in the format, and more decks like Phoenix, where Surgical is better than Gutshot for a free spell if you're playing against another Phoenix deck.
I agree. I'm not sure. I would want to have that one main deck right now, and instead maybe a Mutagenic Growth.
Oh yeah,
like I really like that
call.
one. However, Mutagenic Growth requires a target, so there would need to be a creature on the board to be able to cast that, and that might just not be the case turn 2.
Spell Snare. I love Spell Snare.
I have a love-hate relationship with that card.
Yeah, I think right now it hits a lot of very relevant things. Manamorphose, Thing in the Ice, Eidolon.
Most of the green-black deck.
Yep.
That.
And cycling a Hieroglyphic Illumination. Looks like that's fine right now if you're Mikey, because you have a Azcanta if you ever have 4 open mana to activate.
Yeah.
Probably looking at 4 and finding the best one is better than 2 randoms.
Right, he still seems to be not hitting all of his land drops, so. Hey, that's a good card.
I don't think Mikey is losing in this situation, but you definitely do have to think about the clock and winning as well.
We know that one Teferi is gone. Do we have a Planeswalker count on this deck?
2 Teferi, 1 Jace.
Okay.
Also playing Vendilion Click and 4 Snapcasters.
We'll get it done eventually.
Yeah, 4 Helixes, 2 Bolts.
Kyle doesn't really have removal, and those are creatures that don't really care about Thing in the Ice.
It's true. Definitely have, in response to a flip trigger, played a Snapcaster, targeting a path, pathing the Thing in the Ice, and you get your Snapcaster back. Well, looks like that's a second Cryptic pickup for Mikey.
The strategies of getting out of this for Kyle are mostly go to the next game, apparently.
Yep.
But they are very narrow. You have to sort of build up a hand and have mana advantage, and I don't know if I would want to play that out either.
Yeah, especially with 30 minutes left on the clock, you might, definitely want to give yourself time to win 2 games.
I think that his deck can win pretty fast, and he has to worry less about the clock.
True.
But even some of his games that he wins, he can win longer games that get dragged out a little bit with just snagging a hasty Phoenix off the top of the library or a Bolt.
Yeah, at a certain point you can just cast your Phoenixes,
right.
And it's still, even 4 mana for a 3/2 haste flyer is decent.
It's better than not that. It's better than another land.
It's better than hard casting a Stinkweed Imp, I'll say that most of the time. Alright, as far as sideboard goes, I know that Phoenix probably going to bring in some amount of grindier cards and probably taking out some gut shots, so I bet Dispel, Spell Pierce, and perhaps a Ral is going to come in for Kyle. And I think Mikey is on at least 2 Celestial Purge, so that seems like a pretty strong card in the matchup. Not sure how many, if any, Blood Moon Kyle is playing, but like you said earlier, that seems like one of a card that can swing the matchup if you're able to get it out early.
Yeah, it's interesting in that this is a matchup where it is good, but it doesn't win you the game.
Right.
They still get to play Magic. It's just a much harder game for them then, because there are quite a few basics in that Jeskai list, and Field of Runes digging them out, and you could fetch them early if you're afraid, but the effect on how they can play them, they're very rarely going to be able to double spell.
especially if you can get the Blood Moon out without your opponent having. There's just a one of basic planes in Jeskai, and I think there are 5 fetch lands plus the Field of Ruins that can get the
Ooh.
basic plane. So
I guess
yeah.
that would, yeah, without white mana, this will be real rough. I don't have experience on either side of the table right now, and I can't imagine trying to level the sideboard choices and the
Right.
fetching choices about whether or not Blood Moon's going around. I know if I was Mikey, I would be really afraid of it, but if I was Kyle, I still might just leave the one in.
That is a very, I think, interesting sideboard card and versatile is Celestial Purge now, because that's going to hit basically everything but Thinking the Ice as far as threat goes for Kyle. And then also it gives you an out to Blood Moon if your opponent plays it, but it's not a dead card like
Right.
a Disenchant type effect would be.
That card has been very powerful in Modern forever, and in and out of popularity. But
It seemed
the
like
exile effect has
yeah.
always been really surprising too. That it's an instant and it exiles, and it'll just snag that planeswalker.
It seems like a lot of times it was played as maybe a one of, maybe not even in the sideboard at all, but now it's usually a 2 of in sideboards that can play it. Alright. Are we gonna get any new? Nope. It's like, exciting new mulligans? Nah.
Nat got one on the first game today.
Yeah, I think that was the only
and
mulligan.
He was pretty excited about it, and he won that game.
No, someone in chat is asking if Mikey is paying me to use this deck. I am not paying Mikey, and Mikey is not paying me to use this deck. They've just decided that right now, especially with KCI banned, that Jeskai seems like a pretty strong choice in the metagame, and I wouldn't disagree. But we get to see a cool new card on Kyle's side here with a Salamander, like a Petromander.
This is a card I'm very excited about. I'm not sold that it's very powerful, but I've been a big fan of Tombstalker
Okay.
forever, and this seems just like a better version of that card because you could just play 2 in a row, which is nice because the delve does not count against you here.
And it seems like in Modern, at least, Delver never flips, and at least with Petromander, you can activate the ability. And players are really liking flip cards here.
These are very powerful cards.
Yeah, Search for Iskanta is definitely one of the best things you can be doing in Jeskai on turn 2, just developing the rest of your draw steps and eventually like ramping yourself, finding spells. That's Scour for Kyle. And a Serum Vision. Don't forget to take down that thing in the ice, Kyle.
He hasn't missed a trigger yet. He just hasn't done them in the right order yet.
No, both are on top.
All right, well, maybe we're going to get one.
Yeah, the thing should be on 2.
Yeah. There it is.
Yeah. And an opt. That's so many spells that are cast at this point in the game on like turn 3. It definitely kind of feels legacy-like.
I do miss Brainstorm whenever I'm playing Modern now.
Mikey does have a kind of Blood Moon proof mana base right now with the basic island and basic plains.
These are all just in his hand too. So I don't get to tell whether he's making these decisions on purpose.
Oh, surgical is left in. And I wonder if there's a path hanging out. I would probably have been tempted to
Right.
cast a path.
I wonder if there's a phoenix hanging out in his hand.
All right. Kyle's going to search up a basic here. It's like Mikey was playing around some sideboard Dispel. And wow. We're going to...
That will end the turn.
Yeah.
No shenanigans this turn.
Basically like a expensive silence. And I feel like Mikey was really digging for a land there. And Jace, tapped out board state, probably gonna, yeah, plussing to do a scry so it doesn't die to a lightning bolt.
Jace the Mind Sculptor is better than all, right?
That should be our intro and outro music.
Now Mikey does get to live the dream of being able to cast Brainstorm in Modern. Oh, I don't think Cal's wrong here.
Yeah, doesn't feel good. Oh.
No, that might even... We're getting close. That's many a spell.
See, we got 1, 2... It's instant and sorcery, correct? Right. Yep. Ah, Kyle.
Come on, Kyle.
Thanks a lot.
All right.
Someone give us a count here.
Yeah. Gonna go 6. What about you?
I'll say 7. We're gonna find out. Nope.
No, it must be 6.
Yeah.
Oh, I think that was a blood moon.
I mean,
it's not good, but it's not bad.
It's not the worst. Mikey does just have 1 basic island in plains,
and it will shut off that Escanta for later too. Like there's all sorts of great reasons to have that play this turn if you can.
Oh. I think Kyle just activated the Petromander's ability and swung in for 5. It's very interesting, just the adapt, being able to play around like a lightning bolt in response if you have multiple mana up.
Yep.
Can you get some dice on that, Kyle? You had dice on your thing in the ice? Oh, there we go.
Yeah, he had to exile his Path of Exile for the Logic Knot
Yeah.
earlier, and so now he can't snap Path.
Okay, get a Metamorphose resolving. Blue and a red. I doubt Kyle got a black off that. But maybe, who knows? Their Surgical Extraction is in the deck.
That's not how Adept works. You only get to do it once. You can continue paying for it, but once it has counter on it.
That would be busted.
Well, there are plays from the other player. If they could put a 1/1 counter on it in response, then it would only be a 2/2. Not sure how many of those cards get played right now.
I wonder how many more salamanders we have to print before you can have a salamander tribal deck.
Let's see, Mistform Ultimus times, that's 4. We can just count clones at this point, right?
Oh. Wonder what Mikey's leftovers are.
The old Serum Visions into Thought Scour. We are running out of time. Kyle will have to win this game.
Yeah, flashback Faithless Looting here.
Mikey has the option of just playing for stall on this game.
Yeah, that is the thing where winning game 1 with a control deck is super important.
Back in the days in Standard, where the control deck would set out all win conditions after winning game 1.
Just keep in your Elixir of Immortality
and your Sphinx's Revs.
Yeah. Kyle's definitely spinning the wheels here. See if we end up going anywhere.
I did think there was a Phoenix in that mess.
And Mikey isn't even representing a card like Settle the Wreckage, which is something that Jeskai has been playing some number of, like a 1 of main deck, or maybe 1 of also in the sideboard.
Yeah, he hasn't had any option on choosing his lands this game. They've all been natural drawn.
Okay, looks like we have a response to the Arclight trigger with a Surgical Extraction. And interesting. I maybe would have been tempted to cast an Opt there.
Hope for a Dispel.
Hope for a Dispel. Maybe you even hit your own Surgical and can just tag the one that Mikey's targeting. Oh, there goes the Phoenixes.
Ooh.
Yeah. That's a bit of a death knell there. You even made Kyle shuffle before you cast the path.
Assert dominance.
That's a flex for sure. I mean, I guess those are technically legal plays. Maybe you're trying to run down the clock.
I do not believe there are clock shenanigans going on today.
I do not either. I will say poor form though. Okay, come on. Basic Island? Fetch it? Another land? Blood Moon? No.
I did see he discarded 1 Blood Moon earlier.
Ooh. Got a flip.
Achievement unlocked. He also has Cryptic Mana up now. I'd venture to guess he does not have it in his hand if he's playing that. gain
Correct.
6.
Yeah, I think we may have missed a 1 point of damage on Mikey there. I'm really having a hard time not thinking about puns with Terramander. Like how terrible of a top deck it would be. Whew. It's Saturday. Well, Mikey is tapped out now, so it might be, it's a good spot if you have something like a Raoul Zarek or a Crackling Drake. Vision. Curious what's going on between the players right now.
Yeah, I think Kyle put those 2 cards in his
Yeah,
hand.
I think Kyle just drew 2
but
cards.
He knows that he's putting them back one way or the other. Or not. Oh, maybe it was a Faithless
Oh,
Living?
yeah. Okay, there we go. I was confused. And what are we surgically extracting here?
I believe I would pick the path. Because that's the only thing in there that's going to get the thing in the ice, unless he was able to double up on Lightning Helixes.
Oh. Well. Pretty good leftovers for Mikey. Probably regretting not taking Path right now.
Right.
Especially that Snapcaster hanging out in hand.
Right. So let's find a path for Phoenix to win here in 6 minutes. It's going to have to get through 1 cryptic command. So we're going to need 2 good threats after, let's assume this thing in the ice doesn't make it through.
That's a safe assumption. No. Getting aggressive. Getting aggressive.
Again, he was not able to counter the bolt.
Yeah.
Let's just get 3 in. He knows he's going to have to get to 0 at some point.
And no real reason for Mikey to actually play any cards. You're up a game, 5 minutes left. Probably not losing this one. It's going to be hard to. I mean, you could have a greedy line that is play Snapcaster in response to the thing flip trigger as well.
We can always hope. Fancy for the camera. But as of now, he doesn't have any great second targets for that snap.
Oh. Huh. Get a settle the wreckage found off of search. Or I guess I should say the sunken ruin at this point.
That is live. There's foil planes down there.
I think that is a Arena Christopher Rush too soon signed.
Too soon.
Foil planes. Oh, wow, looks like we have a fan of Kyle in the chat.
Oh, we all are.
It's true. Probably everyone in chat is a fan of Kyle. Manamorphose on the stack. Snapcaster deployed.
Ooh. That is exciting.
There's a cryptic though.
Oh, he does have enough. I was counting while he was fishing. Well, we knew we had to get through the cryptic.
And the path.
And so we're through them. Now we have one subtle. Just streaming crackling drinks, right?
Oh, okay, there's a handshake.
Okay.
Alright, so I think I'm going to get some updates from our other matches, but everyone should be done with round 1. So we're doing it's a single elimination tournament here. We got 8 tier 1 modern decks. We're going to have both of our round 2 decks are going to be up here shortly, and we'll be back in a couple minutes.